So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, as you might have heard, Trump went in and attacked Venezuela and literally took out the president and his wife, abducted them, and brought them to the U.S. And over the weekend, he has threatened 6 other countries, including a NATO country, Greenland. And all the while, the Republicans in Congress don't do or say a thing. And I'm confident that in the future, when this nightmare of Trump is all over, the history books and people from the future will look back and go, how could the Republicans let all this happen? Why didn't they do something? And we all know that the vast majority of Republicans in Congress, we've heard that behind the scenes they say they don't like it, and behind the scenes they talk about how wrong things are, but they don't have the guts, the fortitude to come forward and vote against Trump or to do what is necessary to prevent things from getting worse. Once you think it's gotten as bad as it's going to get, it just keeps getting worse. And I'm certainly not saying that the president of Venezuela was a good guy. He wasn't. But when you look at the actions of what Trump did, it had nothing to do with drugs. It had nothing to do with his politics, because all that Trump is saying now is the United States, will control the oil in Venezuela. So the president of the United States has taken out the leaders, and by taken out, I mean physically taken out to the U.S., the leaders of a foreign country so that he could get control of their biggest natural resource, oil, money. That's what this is about. And he now claims regime change in Cuba. He now claims it's the national security interest to have Greenland. I mean, it's you can't make this stuff up, okay? And all the while he's doing this, and all the while it's getting worse, the Republicans in Congress don't vote at all that he exceeded his authority by going into Venezuela, that he shouldn't, being the U.S., shouldn't just go in and attack countries because we want their natural resources. They have to, at one point or another, and I can't even believe it's gotten to this point. They have to, at one point or another, say enough is enough, and they can't let him go hog wild doing whatever he wants to do. Obviously, another reason he's doing this is to avoid the Epstein file controversy and everything that's going on with that, trying to take the Americans' minds off of the Epstein file and redirecting it somewhere else. 80 people in Venezuela were killed because he did this. And you understand, if he decides he's going to take Greenland because it's in the national interest of the U.S., that's a NATO country. And Article 5 says that any attack on a NATO country is an attack on all, and they will defend, all of NATO will defend, that means if Trump goes after Greenland, that the rest of the NATO countries will have an obligation to defend against the United States. There has to be a point that enough Republicans will get over their fear of Trump retaliating against them and do what is right. If just one or two, maybe they're going to lose their jobs. Okay, maybe they'll be voted out. But if enough Republicans stand up and stop acting like his agents to do whatever he wants, then he won't be so emboldened to do all this stuff that he's doing. I mean, if you said a year ago that Trump's going to talk about attacking 6 countries around the world because he wants to, basically, or feels he can, I would have said that's not going to happen, not even with him. But it has, and it did. And it needs to be stopped. So I'm imploring the Republicans in Congress to do what is right and to forget about party for now. Forget about Republicans versus Democrats. Forget about that. Look at where we are, the United States, the Constitution, okay? Democracy. If democracy goes, your job is meaningless, right? Because Congress makes the laws. So I'm hopeful that enough Republicans will actually stand up against this and vote that it was a violation to attack and to take out the leaders of Venezuela, and that the U.S. has no right to tell the new leader of Venezuela that they will basically attack again if they don't capitulate and comply with everything the U.S. wants, which is their oil. Okay? Well, there you go. All right, everybody have a good day.